What's up, everybody? Milestone math time. Gotta love these orb milestones where it's like you've got two different events going on. One you're just getting for, you're finishing for doing blitzes, and the other one you gotta open a bunch of orbs. This time it's the Unity event, and it's specific for Negasonic orbs, or Unity orbs. I've done this for a number of these type of things. Was it Namor, Cyclops, Ghost Rider, I think was one as well. So anyway, I've got a whole bunch of data that I've done with these things over time. Some of the numbers for that, I've never really been able to pin down. And this time I've got things a little bit more pinned down, thanks to some numbers, and I'm gonna mess this name up. But Verdronius, I'm sure many of you know him, good math wizard out there and someone who tracks things very well, so I feel pretty comfortable in using these numbers for this. And should people be freaking out as much about this event as they did versus Cyclops? People are going, this is way harder than Cyclops, this is BS. Do you have the right to be mad? Well, yes, you do. First off, you can be mad about whatever you want, but should you be really upset about the Unity milestones being that much harder, or are they harder than the Cyclops milestones? Well, I'm gonna dive into that. I'm gonna look at everything we need to know about this thing. How many blitz wins you need a day? Is it possible? Are you gonna be able to 5-star Negasonic without any offers? That was the big thing I was trying to do with Cyclops. Can you do it with Negasonic? Can you get all of these milestones done where you can get some of that mini unique superior gear? I don't know. Let's get into it.
Bring me WolverThor!
Okay, so before I get into the spreadsheet, which, you know, everybody loves, the two events we're talking about is Explosive Combo, which I'll get to in a second, and Creative Differences. I'm going to go to Creative Differences first because this is the one where you just get points for straight up blitzing. All you got to do is blitz and win, okay? And you get more points for winning a blitz match with a Unity character. Again, I would love if Fox next here, when you are in your blitz fights, you go ahead and show me who is a Unity character. Like, can you give me some sort of signal up here? Little icon or something? Scroll down here. I don't know who's Unity. I don't have these things memorized. And it's a 6-day event, you know, so it's like, okay, it'd be great if I knew who was a Unity character. How hard is it to put a little, like, just whatever icon? If it's Unity, could be a rainbow, could be a heart. If it was the Cyclops, which was, I guess, save the heart for the Valentine's Day one, and then a pumpkin for the Halloween one. But give us something. I mean, it makes it so much easier if you do that. So back to the milestones, then you basically blitz for these points. And again, you got to, with a Unity character in it, you get additional points, and a regular blitz, and regular blitz win, you get points as well. And you go through here and you get all these little points, you get these sort of, these rewards. And then the big part of this is getting the Unity Orb Fragments, which gives you a Unity Orb. So typically this type or this portion of the event, this specific milestone, isn't too difficult. And that seems to be the case with this one as well. I'll show you the numbers behind it in a second. I'm gonna go through them quickly because it's not that hard. You should be able to get these in a few days, depending on how much you blitz and how efficient you are and all that kind of thing. The question really is about this other aspect of the milestones, and it's the Explosive Combo one. And this is the one that everyone really cares about. And I'll tell you why in a second. And this is where you get 647 points for opening a Unity Orb. The reason everybody cares about this is you scroll through here, is you start getting through, it's like, okay, advanced superiors. Obviously you want the Negasonic shards, that's you know, part of it, but it's when you get to here, when you start getting these mini uniques. And they're not bad numbers, 12, 12, 8. You know I need, I think 16 more of those, so I'd love to get those before I get back to City again on my second run. And by the way, Fox Next, why does this have to always jump back up? Another bug or something? I don't know what the deal is with this, but my numbers aren't changing here, you know. So anyway, so people are gonna want all of these little milestones here where you can get these mini uniques. There's also 200 SBCs, which isn't too bad. So that's the driver, right? Is do you want to put enough time to get to that level, or do you just want to get to the point where you're just getting as many shards for Negasonic as possible? I don't know, right? That's a decision you've got to make. So I'm now going to jump into the spreadsheet, show you guys the math that I've done. I've confirmed this with a couple other folks. Shout out to Collark. So I'm sure some of you are familiar with him, and obviously he and I worked together, and the numbers I got from him were from Verdronius. So, and sorry if I'm just totally butchering that name. I'll forgive me. So anyway, let's get to the numbers. Okay, so first I'm just going to show you what I have here. The way it's got basically set up is I've got all these milestones here in this area. Then I've got the shards that you get for the milestones, the total points needed that you need for the milestones, the orbs required to meet that specific thing, that milestone, and then you break that down into the fragments needed. And then this is the part where it gets a little bit different, but because we don't know how many fragments we'll get from the character blitzes. Previously, it's been 4,000, and what I mean by that is the fragments from the milestones in those blitzes. When you finish the milestones for blitzing, milestones and chill, that concept, there are fragments for these orbs in there. Previously, it's been 4,000 per character blitz. I've assumed that same thing, and we get 2 character blitzes for this for a total of 8,000 fragments. So then you move over to an adjusted frag total, and then the number of blitz wins needed to get that. Now that's the part where you're like, well, how do you figure that out? I'll get to that in a second. That's where Verdronius's numbers come into play. And then I've got some numbers about number of blitz wins between each milestone, and then the number of blitz wins you needed per day based on the overall duration of this thing. Where I want to start actually is the creative differences milestones first. And I'm going to jump down here. So this one, like I said, there's 20 milestones. You get essentially 50 shards from finishing those milestones. The final number of points needed is 11,000. Total frags awarded through this this portion would be 24. That means you get 12 Unity orbs from this. So that's 14 total rotations here where you're getting, okay, it's like, well, how are you figuring that? So it's the 11,000, right, divided by I-214, which is, let me find it for you, right here. So points for a full run. I ran this based on what I just did a minute or earlier today. I ran a couple runs. There was a bug that gave us, I think, 3,000 points because they gave you a bunch of points for just every team as if they were all Unity. So luckily, if you got your rotation in there, you probably jumped in. But the truth is you should expect about 760 points. And again, that's just based on where I ended up and versus the first run. So if that's the case, you're getting about 14 full rotations to get that done. And that's, in my mind, if you're running 2 hours of rotation, 12-hour days with 6 rotations, it's like, you know, a few days you're going to be done with this thing. Okay, so expect to finish these if you're doing any sort of effort on it at all. Okay, and then I'll get to shards and, you know, whether you can 5 and 6 star in a second. All right, but the most important part here is how much blitzing do you need to do to actually do this event? And then I'm going to talk to how this compares to the Cyclops event. Technically, the duration is, well, I shouldn't say technically. The duration of this event is 8 days. But in reality, the duration of this is only 6 days because you don't get any fragments from doing these orb blitzes. So the amount of days at start, it's really just the Monday through Thursday. So it's what, Saturday, ending Sunday blitz, right? So it's, you get your Monday into Tuesday night, and this is all American days. Tuesday to Wednesday, into Thursday, into Friday, into Saturday, and into Sunday. Okay, so you really only have 6 days to blitz for fragments, all right? So that's a big key here because that is one of the big differences as well as many character blitzes as you get. So, and there are some things that Foxnex did to slightly adjust this, but again, we'll get to the stuff in a second. So again, shards total points for each one. Orbs required to meet the milestone. Let's just get down to the bottom one. So you need 65 orbs to finish that milestone, okay? That's what that is. Now you got to remember that you also get 12 Unity orbs from doing the stuff that you should get regardless. So in reality, you're talking about this range here, okay? So when we look at this, we want to remember that we're really in this range because we get 12 from this other event that's going on that you're going to get from blitzing as well. And again, you get a certain number of fragments for that, or you need that many. So you need 110,000 fragments. You subtract the 8,000, assumed 8,000, to get to about a total of 102,000. And again, you know, I'm doing a range here because it just kind of depends what you get RNG wise. And what we're talking about is adjusted Unity orb fragments. The number of blitz wins needed. Okay, now let's focus on that for a second. So I've got 1,113. All right, so it's like, where am I getting that? And it's like that number divided by some potential number of fragments based on each blitz win. So this is the part we don't know. All right, so Verdronius numbers that he actually did and kept from his Cyclops run, I've used those exact numbers. So it's roughly 92 fragments per win. And you could get lucky with some RNG and get a bunch of 2000s, but the chance to get those is low. So this is a variable that could lower or raise the number of blitz wins that you need. So if you get a bunch of 2000s, things are going to go down. If you don't, things are going to go up. So if we stay in this general range of, you know, needing 1,100 or 931 to 1,100 blitz wins over the course of 6 days, and again, you got to use 6 days, then you're talking about anywhere from 155 to 185 blitz wins per day. Okay, is that a lot? It's a little. It's a lot in my mind, 185 blitz wins, right? It's a lot of time. And that was the same thing with, well, the concept was the same as what you had with Cyclops. Is this is not something that you're going to be able to do quickly, okay? And if you really think about it, should it be? I mean, it's not. It's a monetary game. They're trying to make money. You either work really hard to get what you want, or you pay for something to get it easier. It's kind of the way these things typically work. So 6 days, those are the number of wins. Now, the next thing I like to look at is the rotations or wins needed per day. If you're awake 16 hours, blitz cooldown about, you know, an hour and 45 minutes or so. It's about 9 rotations a day. That means you need 20 wins needed per rotation if you're doing that to hit that. So you can see it's number of rotations that I ran in there based on a 16-hour day divided by this total number of blitz wins needed. And that gives you about 20. And right now, you can do that in the game if you know how to blitz right. And what I mean by that is enter these scenarios, and this is a Bow and Foxnex kind of typically throws us, is that we get blitzes that most of the player base don't really care about that much. Or even if you're a newer player, you might not be like, you know what, I can get this tune later, I can farm this tune. So 20 wins, how do you get that? You drop down to a lower tier. You use all the tunes that are not Unity tunes to drop you down close to tier 1 as you can and get all the wins that you can. And that's how I was talking about that kind of like 760 or whatever the number was of points that I got for my run. So I think 20 wins per rotation is pretty doable. Again, 16 hours awake, 9 rotations a day, being that efficient, that does stink. It's annoying. It's a high task, but if you're at tier 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you're probably autoing every single one of those, and you don't really need to pay attention to it regardless of what you're doing. Now, I know sometimes some of us are in meetings, we're, you know, holding presentations, stuff like that. That becomes a little bit more difficult, and I get it. So maybe if you're really looking to do it and you want to buy an orb, I do it that way. So that's where I get with these numbers. Not terrible. No, it's pretty terrible, but it's not the worst thing in the world. I want to compare this to Cyclops as well, so let me show you that as the data that I had from before. Okay, so I'm just jumping right to this section of the Cyclops data. What you're going to see here is I was carrying the 105 potential frags from blitz wins just because I had been running that for a while, which got you to about 132 to 106 blitz wins needed per day. The reason is you're probably like, well, that's clearly easier. You're right. And the reason is we had 9 days. We also had 3 character blitzes to pull from. We had Vision. I didn't write who the Monday or Thursday blitz was, but we had 3 character blitzes. All right. So you had an opportunity for an additional 4,000 fragments from that and an additional character blitz. So you got 3 more days of doing it. So you had a lot less blitz wins needed per day and less wins needed per rotation. So that made it a bit easier. Now I want to show you if I change, you know, this to 105, the Verdronius number, It's still higher than the Cyclops Blitz. So this is harder than the Cyclops Blitz. So if all of you guys wondering out there, it is. I checked, it's absolutely the case. I've kept this data. I did it for all these other ones too. Or this is, who is this? This is Ghost Rider, which was similar to Cyclops. And Namor, it looks like I didn't keep as good data, but it was still the same concept to where it was, 130. Yeah, no, it's 136. I just didn't highlight a green. So you got 136 for Namor, 136 for Ghost Rider. You got 132-ish for Cyclops, and then you get to Negasonic, and it's 185. And even if you change it to keep it to 105 to stay consistent, it's still 162. So it's harder. So yeah. So now let's look at the shards real quick to see, are you going to be able to 5-star Negasonic? What I'm looking at here is you're going to get 130 shards of Negasonic without buying any offers, assuming you finish all milestones, or really you just need to get through milestone 24 in the what's it called, in the explosive combo, and then if you finish the creative differences, you'll get 130 potential shards from Unity orbs. That number, I've basically taken the 12 that you get from creative differences and the 64, assuming you finish all 30 of the milestones above, and I multiplied it by 2, which also might be a bit high because the RNG on those orbs aren't the greatest and you don't necessarily guarantee 2 from each one. But for argument's sake, let's just say you do. That's a total of 284 potential shards. All right. How many do you need for 4-star? All right, you're covered. How many do you need for 5-star? Just a little bit short. Just a little bit short. So you might need to buy an offer to get there, unless you get some good RNG. You want 6-star? Nah, you're probably gonna need to buy 2 offers there. You're quite a bit short there. And even with the 2 offers, you're probably gonna need some good RNG to get it. So 7 stars, you're buying multiple offers and spending cores on the orbs. So that's your whale territory. That's not gonna happen. So anyway, that's the math behind this thing. Let me know what you guys think. Did I just totally miss this? I ran it by a couple other people who are pretty smart, much smarter than I am. Is this something you're gonna wanna really grind for? It's similar to Cyclops, a little bit harder for sure. We have more teams. There could be the variable that Foxnex gives us more fragments while we do Blitz. It could get more fragments from the milestones. I hope that they do. I hope maybe they throw a couple extra orbs at us, more than a couple. That'd be great to help us get through this. Maybe since there was the bug from the early milestone mess up, maybe they'll say apologies, sorry for the hiccup. Here's 4 Unity orbs. I mean, because the truth is this milestone is meant to unify, right? So we're either gonna unify together and celebrate that we all got this good character that's gonna be in war, or we're all gonna unify against Foxnex and be mad that they've made this thing so hard that we're all pissed at them. So one way or another, we're gonna unify, right? So let me know what you think. Come by the Discord. The link will be in the description below. I'd love to chat about this. If you guys see any math stuff, let me know. I typically try to update these as I go throughout the week to say, are you on track or not? And I'd love for you guys to let me know if I did miss something, so that way I can make sure that when I'm talking about being on track, that I'm informing you guys properly. But I think for this one, I think I've got it right, given that I've talked to some other people. But just in case, please let us know. So appreciate you guys stopping by. And until next time, hope you have a wonderful day.